Now, it's only one start, but the way the starting rotation has struggled overall, Wei-Yin Chen did wonders last night, not only for the rotation going 8 strong innings, but he really did a good job resting the bullpen.
Absolutely, Jim. I think the really important thing about Wei-Yin Chen's start kind of harkens back to last season, at the beginning of the season last year, because we talk about early season games, and you said big early season game. Is there such thing as a giant game in April? And this was a very big win, very much like at the beginning of last year when the Orioles started 1-4 and Chris Tillman had to go up against Justin Verlander in that 6th game and came through, and that got the Orioles started. You can't discount how important a win like that is when you got a team with the longest losing streak that it's had since 2013.
What's interesting to me, Chen tied his career high with 8 innings last night, retired the last 12 batters he faced. Was he even quoted in any game stories? It was like, oh, by the way, Wei-Yin Chen came up huge, but there were so many things going on, the walk-off, what was going on outside the ballpark, that he kind of got overlooked, so I'm glad we're talking about him now. And, that staff just seemed, as a whole, to get thrown out of whack when Ubaldo Jimenez was ejected in Boston. It was almost like there was a trickle-down effect. I think the streak was like there were 8 straight starts where the starter didn't go more than 5 1/3 innings, which is going to wear out your bullpen, especially when you're carrying a Rule 5 kid. You had guys pitching kind of out of turn. Brian Mattis was a long man for one game. It just seemed to throw everything off. Miguel Gonzalez calmed things down the previous night, and then Chen, of course, came up huge. Just got to cut down on the walks, though. We only walked one guy last night, but what happened? Leadoff walk followed by a home run by David Ortiz. Every time this team walks a guy, somebody ends up hitting a home run later in the inning, or they score a run. Zach Britton walked the leadoff guy in the 9th. He scores. If the staff can reduce the walks, they'll be a lot better off.
But that being said, only one walk. That contributed to going 8 innings because it kept the pitch count down.
Right, exactly. I think Gonzalez only walked a couple, but again, guys scored afterwards. So, yeah, at least they're cutting down the walks. But they say there's nothing free about a free pass. It is costing them runs.
All right, now, if you look at the winning rally last night, let's not forget Boston did take the lead in the top of the 10th. But how about the quality at-bats by the Orioles in the bottom of the 10th? You had Adam Jones going the opposite way. You had Chris Davis going the opposite way. And then David Lowe, who's only started 2 games all year, worked the count to 3-2 and got a pitch and didn't miss it.
Absolutely, and that's been the touchstone for this team when it has played well this year. There's no question about it that they're more patient. They are working at bats more. They are more intelligent at the plate. Adam Jones has just been sizzling. I don't know how you even describe what's going on there, because he does hit balls out of the strike zone. But then you have Chris Davis really having a clue in that at-bat to get the fly ball. That's all he was looking for. You could tell by his demeanor at the plate that he was going to hit a fly ball, and that was his entire goal. And that's what you have to do to keep this game alive. And then, of course, David Lowe, which is just a great moment for a kid like David Lowe, who's not been able to contribute very much this year, had a really good second half last year and wanted to get back into it, got hurt, and now he has this really, really nice thing to build on right now.
And it was okay to call this a big win, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Even though it was only like the 18th game this season.
How about huge?
Yes, John Russell said as much in the pregame. He said, yeah, we need to win this game.
Right.
Just to kind of settle things down a little bit. But a lot of it's perspective. This team was 9-9 through 18 games last year. They're 8-10 this year. Not a huge difference. I'm not good at math. I think that's one game. But again, it's the perception, I think, because the rotation was struggling. The staff ERA's last in the majors. They're making more errors than they were making. Mistakes on the base paths, throw to the wrong base. Not Buck Showalter type baseball. So I think it was kind of magnified. But if somebody had told you guys before we even started the season that this team is only going to be 2 games under 500 and you weren't going to have J.J. Hardy play a single game yet, Matt Wieters hasn't played a single game, Jonathan Scopes on the DL, Wesley Wright, who was supposed to kind of ease the loss a little bit of Andrew Miller, 2 appearances, he's on the DL. You would have thought, hey, you'll gladly take 8-10. So I think, again, keep in perspective. And this division, everybody's so tight anyway, it's so packed in. You win 2 games in a row, you can end up in first place.
It's interesting that the busiest guy in the organization is Dave Walker, who runs the rehab in Sarasota. Right. He has so many guys down there that he's taking care of. And, we talk quite a bit about the what-if guys on this team. Dan Duquette, he does a great job of bringing in depth. You'd like not to have to use it as much as they have, but you look at the game last night. Paredes gets 4 hits. David Lowe gets the game-winning hit. Where would the Orioles be without the depth that they brought in?
Well, the interesting thing is that every offseason, a lot of fans and some media complain about all these guys that Dan Duquette brings in that you've never heard of or haven't done much, and he just seems to have a knack for finding that guy who Buck Showalter can pick up at a certain time in the season and make a big contribution. Now, I don't think anybody predicted that Jimmy Paredes would be one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, you're smarter than I am, but still, the fact that he can come in and do that. Now, David Lowe's been here for a while, but even bringing in a Ray Navarro in a pinch, and he got a hit the other day, they just have a certain kind of genius between Buck and Dan, and I'm not always that certain about how this really works as far as the dynamic between them. It just works.
And I always dread, though, every time they have one of these signings and I have to report on it, someone inevitably is going to tweet me and go, oh, start printing those World Series tickets. But these are important signings. And Ray Navarro, remember, lots of teams wanted to give him a minor league deal, including the Yankees. The Orioles were the only team that offered a major league deal because that was the only way they were going to be able to sign him. And I know a lot of people are like, why is this guy's taking up space on the 40-man? Well, this is why. It ends up being a very good signing. Paul Janisch is down in AAA, a plus defender at shortstop. They have Jason Nix, who I think is battling. He's got like back stiffness right now, but he's a good guy to have down there. Ozzie Martinez, they love his defense. He's at Bowie because there's no place to play him in AAA, and he's a plus defender at shortstop. These are all important guys. They said we're going to have to improve our defense down in AAA and AA because they weren't happy with it last year, and then these guys can help them. That's what we're seeing right now with Ray Navarro.
You know, you guys clean up very nicely. Peter Schmuck, BaltimoreSun.com, Roch Kubatko, MASSonSports.com. Check out their coverage of the Orioles. Pete's got a big column in the paper today because it's Sunday.